New Delhi, 6:30 p.m. onwards. Entry by invitation only. This is TV18. And you're watching CNBC TV18.
Brought to you by
Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
India has more than 50% of its population below the age of 25 and more than 65% below the age of 35. It is expected that in 2020, the average age of an Indian will be 29 years. The number of first-time voters in 2014's general elections stands at a whopping 149.36 million. Hence, it is very important to go all guns blazing to inspire the youth in shaping India the way we dream it. In 2009, when we held our last general elections, India's population was about 1.19 billion. Given current growth rates, it's about 1.27 billion today, an increase of about 80 million Indians in these 5 years. We have added about 48 million first-time voters to the registered electorate.
You know, the Election Commission has been concerned for many years that many voters are not coming forward. And there are three things we want: that they should, every 18-year-old should register, and on the day of poll he should come and vote, he or she, and also vote ethically. So India voting is more about the first part, registration of voters.
With the national elections around the corner, voters' participation in the democratic and electoral processes is integral to the successful running of any democracy and the very basis of wholesome democratic elections. Thus, it becomes an integral part of election management.
Election Commission of India is quite concerned that there should be full participation of Indian citizens in the electoral process. It has two aspects, simple. One is anyone who is eligible should be on our electoral roll, and everyone who is on the electoral roll should go out and vote. But this is not happening, and that's where perhaps there is a democracy deficit. It doesn't make us feel happy and proud that 40% of the Indian electorate generally do not vote in a national election. In some states it's even worse, in some states it's a little better.
We realize that without participation, democracy has no meaning. If people don't turn up to vote and they don't register, democracy loses its significance. Therefore, we thought we will have a proactive voter education program, and we studied the apathy of the voters. Why is it that they are not reporting? Why they are not registering, particularly young people or everybody else? So we commissioned knowledge, attitude, behavior and practice BP studies for short, for professional agencies to find out the answer. And we found there are three reasons why they were not registering. One, some of them did not even know that at 18 you become eligible to vote. Secondly, they did not know what is the procedure and process involved. Or third, they had the kind of a negative opinion about politics and politicians. Therefore, they were not really bothered. We needed to address all three.
To address the challenge to increase voter turnout, CELL, the Center for Ethical Life and Leadership, in conjunction with its coalition partners, have launched a website to bring voter registration at the doorstep in order to overcome urban voter apathy and increase voter turnout on election day.
Basically, people are afraid of what they don't know, right? And so to get a driver's license or a PAN card, there's usually some agent or some guy and you just do it and you get it done. For an election card, which you only generally get once you turn 18 and probably once or twice depending on whether you move, a lot of people, at least in the metros, they don't know what the process is. So ignorance is half the problem. They don't know what the process is. And frankly, during my research, I didn't know what the process was, and I tried to read the forms and understand the nitty-gritties, and it was confusing. And I went to the Election Commission. I met Dr. Alok Shukla, super technical guy, and he tells me, hey, the address proof isn't as onerous as people are thinking. You don't need a nationalized bank, or you don't need a PAN card. You need any letter that's been mailed to you by the Indian Postal Service. Anything that proves you actually live there, even if you're a tenant, a landlord can write a letter and say this person lives here. Because remember, the statutory validation, where they come and check whether you live there, really is the strict, they make sure you live there. But at the upfront, where they just need to show your address proof, it doesn't have, a lot of people get afraid of the address proof. It doesn't have to be something that we're used to, something that's only a nationalized bank. It can be pretty much any piece of mail that's been given to you through the Indian Post, or a letter from your landlord that says you live there. And once I found out that it's that easy, that's when we got this thing going, where we said, look, people don't know it's this easy and this simple.
We very clearly see that this coming election would have large number of first-time voters. They're young, they want to come out and vote, and we have to take our voting population up from what was in 50s to 75, 80, because I think we want people to be involved. And then, Hitesh approached me and he said, how can we scale this? And I think the best way to do is to ask our companies, where we have lakhs of people in each. We have 32 lakh people who work in our industry. So if we can get that population excited, we can get this done. And one of the biggest problems that we have is people say, I'm a transient, I moved in from one city to the other, I don't have a voter ID and so on. So how can we make it easier to get that done? And I think that was our basic purpose of getting this there. And I'm very excited. So we do see that in this particular election, a lot of young people will land up voting.
I set about trying to figure out how hard it is to get an election card, and why can't we do some of these voter registration camps at the campuses. And so I ended up leaving my corporate life, joining a nonprofit, working with the Election Commission to get all of the industry bodies to agree that they needed to push this issue and that they needed to provide voter registration facilities at the doorstep. And that's what IndiaVoting, that's how it came about. And wonderful partners, like BPAC, IndiaVoting, Volunteer for a Better India. It's almost like all these things started to conspire to help this. I got on-the-grass partners. I got a foundation like Reliance or Dell, NASCOM Foundation, to show up and say, we want to help support you. I got good support from ASOCHAM. So everything started falling into place, and we have not looked back since.
IndiaVoting.org is a website which helps corporate India to bring its employees to come and register themselves for a voter card and take an active part in the system. To get yourself registered, you need to visit the website and follow 7 basic steps. Fill in all the necessary details. Once completed, you need all the green checks to submit the form. Then you will get a Form 6 emailed to you with further instructions.
To fill up the form to register as voter used to be quite a task for many people. IndiaVoting is only trying to make it easy so that they can fill up the form and then also send it to the right officer in the Election Commission. After that, we must remember that it is the job of the Election Commission to verify all those forms and issue the ID card, and that will happen in due course. IndiaVoting could not be distributing those cards. The distribution of cards will have to be done by the Election Commission. We thought that the corporate sector can play a very active role in this. After all, they have millions of employees. They can, as they say, charity begins at home. Let them start with their own employees.
अभी भी हैंडसम दिखते हो तुम।
अच्छा फिर से शादी कर लें?
फिर से ना भाग के शादी नहीं करनी मुझे तुम्हारे साथ।
इस बार 25th वेडिंग एनिवर्सरी पे करते हैं ना धूम धड़ाके वाली शादी। पैसों की चिंता मत करो, इंश्योरेंस का चेक आ रहा है ना, कम।
क्या आपके इंश्योरेंस रिटर्न्स आपके सपने साकार होने देंगे? भारतीय एक्सा लाइफ सिक्योर सेविंग्स प्लान, जो दे आपके प्रीमियम पे हर साल 10% तक गारंटीड एडिशंस, ताकि आपके सपने साकार हों। भारतीय एक्सा, जीवन सुरक्षा का नया नजरिया।
we see a very strong fit between Overdrive Awards and what Godrej Air stands for. And that, I think, is a very good combination, and we saw that a good synergy between these awards and our brand. I think we can take pride in one thing, that we have created a set of complete new innovation in this industry. The gel feature here gives two things. One, it gives you the same fragrance on day 1 till day 60, which is the duration of this product. And secondly, it's spill-proof. Being associated with a very high quality premium set of awards helps the brand imagery.
Get rewarded every hour. Binani presents the Vote on Account Challenge live on CNBC TV 18 and CNBC Avaz. Answer a few simple questions and win exciting prizes every hour. SMS BB to 51818.
Presented by Binani Cement, Sadiyon ke liye. Prize sponsor Southern Travels, ranked #1 domestic tour operator by Ministry of Tourism. And Mitashi, experience colors that come alive only on the Mitashi. Holiday partners Sterling Holidays. Happy holidays, happy families. Corporate India has come out in major support of this initiative. The Election Commission has extended its support to associations such as FICCI, NASSCOM, ASSOCHAM and CII.
So the idea is that the Election Commission has agreed that they will instruct all the CEOs in all the states to work with the corporate bodies to help their member companies enroll their employees and their families. So the Election Commission has written a note to all the chief electoral officers in the state saying, look, we're partnering with these organizations. They have a lot of member companies. Can you please work with them to get these forms filled, collected, sorted, and registered for a card?
So the idea in this campaign is to really get them to register and cast their vote, which is an important part of their responsibility as educated, intelligent youngsters in the country.
Keeping in mind the election just around the corner, our Lok Sabha election, it's very important effort, and particularly since IT industry employs people with an average age of 27 and hence large number of young voters, I think for us it is still higher responsibility to make it happen.
NASSCOM Foundation, the social arm of NASSCOM, has partnered with Election Commission of India to engage its employees through their My Kartavya platform to participate in India's electoral process.
We have put this under the NASSCOM Foundation initiative of My Kartavya. My Kartavya being your duty, or my duty. And in this case, we're looking at duty from two perspectives. One is exercising your right to vote is actually your duty, but also volunteering and getting involved and spreading the news about this initiative and making it happen. So the way that we're making this happen is using that spirit of volunteerism and mobilization. We have 1,500 companies, some of the major corporates across this country. All of them have HR departments that are able to mobilize their own employees. And so from almost like a pyramid scheme, we have different institutions taking this on and running with the tools that we've created.
The participation of various corporates has been an integral part of this process.
We thought that the corporate sector can play a very active role in this. After all, they have millions of employees. They can, as they say, charity begins at home. Let them start with their own employees. Find out if any employee is not on the voter list or his family members are not on the voter list. So this initiative is basically to get the corporate world on board, and I'm very happy that FICCI, ASSOCHAM, NASSCOM, CII, they have all responded very, very positively. And in the coordinating agency is Center for Ethical Life and Leadership, which is a non-profit organization to promote CSR. And all of us are together are trying to help the Election Commission in their mission to reach out to every single voter.
We believe that as an industry organization, it is important that we must also contribute to this very, very important cause, because democracy belongs to all of us. Democracy doesn't belong only to government or any political parties. It belongs to all of us, and we have to ensure that people exercise their democratic right.
We think that the IT BPM industry can be an example to the rest of India, both from an industry perspective as well as a general citizenry perspective. We've got 3 million people working in our industry, and the average age is 27, 28, so it's pretty young. Fits right into that group of voter apathy that we hear so much about. There's also another thing about the IT BPM industry. We're located in the major cities. Most people, over half of them, are moving in order to take those jobs. So they're probably registered in other places. So we feel like our industry is the perfect example to put in front of this initiative.
This is to bring in all of the corporates, their employees, their families, relatives, and basically bring in a whole class of voters which tends to be generally a little more apathetic to voting.
It's a long chain, and every generation is a link. You, your children, and your parents. They were there before you, and they will be there after you too. For generations to come.
रुको मैडम, लड़कियां पानी भरने जा रही हैं।
बड़े बाबू
जी मैडम।
स्कूल लड़कियां कहाँ हैं?
टाइम कहाँ है मैडम? 2-4 कोस दूर जाना पड़ता है पानी भरने के लिए। मैडम जी, इससे क्या होगा?
बड़े बाबू, वीजा डेबिट है, आसानी से इंटरनेट पे भी चलता है। वेरीफाइड बाय वीजा होने के कारण आपके कार्ड को पासवर्ड सुरक्षित रखता है।
पढ़ लिख गई तो सासे सखियों खाली कुआं भर जावेगा।
लड़कियां स्कूल नहीं जा सकती तो स्कूल तो लड़कियों के पास आ सकता है ना।
Visa Debit. Dream to advance.
Channel Japan. Get the latest stories from Japan as they happen on the ground. In this episode, reshaping traditional rice crackers. Technology for simulating accidents. Craftsmen who support manufacturing in Japan. Every week, direct from Tokyo, Channel Japan.
The campaign aims to facilitate voter registration within the industry and sensitize its employees on the need to exercise their franchise.
We do know that companies, members of FICCI, for example, employ a very large number of people in their factories and offices and their locations. So there's a whole base available there. Some of them may be voters, some of them may not be voters, some may have shifted from one location to another. So just run a campaign with them that here you are in a captive area, in a geographical location. Please ensure that you have registered to be a voter. So it's a very simple exercise. We're asking our members to do this with all their staff and all their employees.
When we actually do the math of employees that are targeted, we're looking at something like 1.4 crore employees between these four bodies, and then we're also registering family members. So either you double that and you're at around 2.5 crore people, but again, it doesn't happen until you guys go to the IndiaVoting.org website and actually go and register.
I think this is a very important initiative because as corporates, as professionals, we pay the highest taxes in this country, and we can't afford not to be engaged with the voting process. So in order to encourage corporate professionals to engage in voting and register themselves as voters, this initiative aims to bring voter registration at the door of corporate houses to enable all professionals to be registered voters.
I think it's fantastic that we're doing something like this. It allows people who work from locations outside of their homes to get an opportunity to get registered and vote and participate in the election. That's one reason why GenPact has enlisted in this, because we engage and have a lot of people who come from different places and they get to get their voter ID and register and work and vote in the place which is where their office is. So it's great.
Many organizations have taken the initiative and have launched the registration drive within their campuses.
So what we're trying to do is to really work with the
with NASSCOM to help register a large number of people who are working in the IT BPO industry. So this really means that we're going to have the camps within our offices and then invite all our employees to ensure that they participate in the voter registration drive.
In our industry, we have over 35 lakh young people working. So how can we get them to come out, do their patriotic duty, which is to become voters? And I think if we can make that happen, it becomes a role model for the rest of the industries and the country itself.
This campaign addresses issues to increase voter awareness and urban apathy towards electoral participation.
For us to be a democracy that becomes even better and better, we need to have a higher percentage of voting. Today, the voting percentage in India is similar to the US, but the US is a very developed economy and a lot of people probably don't vote because they're happy with things happening. For us, the largest voting population in the world, it's important for us to make sure all segments are engaged. And we clearly have a scenario today where the middle classes, the upper middle classes, the people in corporates tend to not participate as fully. If we get all of these people in, I think our elections will be even more representative.
One of India's largest IT service company, Infosys, has swung in full action and has implemented the registration drive at their various campuses.
See, we started with an initiative of first educating all our employees because, in our development centers, which has anywhere between 10,000 to 20,000 employees, it's a great workforce. So we started educating this workforce that it's their duty to go and elect the representatives in the oncoming elections. That's the first step. Second step was to really enable them to register as the voters. So we started this in one of our centers in Bangalore, and we gradually would like to take this initiative to all our development centers so that the employees can register during the office hours within the campus without going outside, so that process becomes very easy for them.
Creating awareness, motivating people to participate, and facilitating and easing out the process of registration are some of the key factors to increase voter turnout. IndiaVoting.org has successfully taken up the challenge along with its partners to increase voter numbers for the forthcoming general elections.
Look, I think that we're at an exciting time right now in India. I mean, we saw what happened, at least here in Delhi, with a big change, and there's this referendum type mahol, and people are thinking that this time the youth is going to make the hugest difference. And I think it's true. And that palpable feeling of change or winds of change or governance, that's actually going to make a difference. But people actually need to register and get a card. It doesn't just happen with protests in the street or Facebook likes or dislikes. You actually have to get a card. And what we're seeing is that youth are overwhelmingly responding to this call, and they're actually registering. So I think that at the end of these election cycle, we'll be really happy with the turnout we've gotten. But we've got 3 more weeks left to get some of these people, lazy people, get off your butt, go to the website, and register for a card. You cannot joggle one day and decide you want to vote when you actually don't have a card. So you have to start upstream. You have to get the card, register, wait for the process, receive it, and then on election day you'll actually get to vote. Otherwise you'll just be watching from TV.
Let's not only complain about what needs to be done, but make it happen. Get up, ensure that you log in, get your voter ID, and show up to vote. India needs it.
If you want the kind of policies that you think are right for you, you have to take the step of going out and voting for what you believe is right.
I do request every citizen of India to go cast their vote. It's extremely important and it's your duty.
Casting a vote is a privilege and an obligation. And therefore, it's extremely important that people vote in the way they wish to, but they must exercise that vote and not waste it.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.
Brought to you by